It was supposed to be the most exciting day of Ethan's life. After years of studying, engineering, and dreaming about the future of transportation, he had finally been invited to experience a Hyperloop test runner near supersonic pod system that could change the world forever. The Hyperloop track stretched across the Nevada desert, shining under the fierce afternoon sun. A team of engineers and journalists gathered near the sleek, metallic pod, buzzing with excitement and curiosity. The atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation and pride. "Ladies and gentlemen," the lead engineer announced through a microphone, "today we will reach speeds faster than any land vehicle in history. Let's make history together." Ethan felt his heart racing. He stepped inside the narrow capsule, which looked like a futuristic airplane cabin, but without windows. Only small digital screens displayed the outside view through live camera feeds. The seats were minimal, yet comfortable, designed to withstand extreme acceleration. A robotic voice spoke softly. "Welcome, passengers. The Hyperloop test will begin in 1 minute. Please fasten your safety harness." Ethan glanced at his fellow passengers, a tech journalist named Maya, a robotics specialist named Dr. Kwon, and a government inspector taking notes. Everyone looked confident, though their nervous smiles betrayed a hint of fear. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The pod launched forward with a silent, breathtaking acceleration. Ethan felt his body pressed against the seat as if gravity had suddenly doubled. Outside, the desert blurred into streaks of color. The pod reached 700 miles per hour within seconds. "Unbelievable," Maya shouted, gripping her armrest. "It's like flying without wings." For a few glorious moments, everything was perfect. The Hyperloop glided smoothly, vibration-free, powered by magnetic levitation inside the vacuum tube. Ethan smiled. This was the future he had always imagined. But then something changed. The pod shook slightly, then again harder this time. Warning lights flickered across the control panel. The robotic voice spoke again, but now it sounded urgent. "System anomaly detected. Pressure instability in segment 47. Dr. Kwon's eyes widened. "Pressure instability. That's impossible." The pod slowed abruptly, and the sudden deceleration pushed everyone forward. The lights dimmed. Ethan's screen went dark. The once silent tunnel now echoed with metallic groans. "Stay calm," the government inspector said, trying to sound composed. "The emergency systems will handle it." But nothing happened. The pod came to a complete stop in the middle of the vacuum tube. Total silence surrounded them. Ethan could feel his pulse pounding in his ears. The air felt heavy, recycled, and artificial. "Are we stuck?" he whispered. Maya tried the emergency communication button, but there was no response, no signal. No connection to the control center. Dr. Kwon opened a small maintenance panel near her seat. If the tube lost partial pressure, the magnetic levitation may have failed. "We might be resting on the rail now." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to stay resilient. "We can't panic." Let's figure out what systems still work. He began checking the pod's internal diagnostics through his wrist tablet, which had local connection access. After a few minutes, he discovered something alarming. The oxygen level is slowly dropping. The air recycling unit stopped when the pod lost external power. Then we have to restart it manually, said Dr. Kwan. Her voice was steady, meticulous, every movement precise. Together, they removed the side panel and began working on the circuits. Sparks flew briefly, illuminating the confined space. Sweat trickled down Ethan's forehead. His hands trembled, but he forced himself to focus. He remembered his training. Patience and problem-solving were key. Finally, Dr. Kwan reconnected the backup circuit. A soft hum returned to the cabin as the lights flickered on. Oxygen system restarted, said the robotic voice. Everyone sighed in relief. Maya smiled weakly. You two just saved our lives. Yet the relief didn't last long. The temperature inside the pod started to rise. It's getting hot, Ethan said. Without air circulation from outside, the tube must be absorbing heat. Dr. Kwan nodded grimly. But if we don't move soon, it'll become unbearable. Ethan decided to contact the control center again using manual signal modulation. He adjusted the frequency bands manually, innovative thinking under pressure. Finally, a faint voice came through the static. Pod 7, do you copy? We detected a system failure. Rescue team is preparing depressurization access. Ethan almost shouted with joy. Yes, we're here. Oxygen stable, but temperature rising fast. Understood, replied the voice. Hold tight. Estimated extraction in 15 minutes. 15 minutes felt like 15 hours. The passengers sat quietly, trying to remain serene amid the chaos. Maya recorded a short video message for her news report, her voice trembling slightly, but still eloquent. Inside the Hyperloop test pod, we've experienced a system failure. Yet, what I've witnessed here is extraordinary teamwork and human courage. This technology, though risky, represents our limitless ambition. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, a loud hiss echoed through the tunnel. The pod door unlocked with a metallic click. The rescue team arrived, wearing pressure suits and carrying oxygen tanks. Everyone okay? One of them asked. Ethan nodded, exhausted but relieved. As they were escorted through an emergency exit chamber, he looked back at the pod sleek, silent, and slightly damaged. It had almost become their metal coffin, yet it also symbolized the human spirit of exploration. Outside, the evening sun painted the desert gold. The wind felt cool and real. Ethan closed his eyes, breathing deeply. Maya approached him. You know, she said softly, you just lived through the kind of story people will study one day. Not because it was perfect, but because it was human. He smiled. Maybe. And maybe that's what progress really means, learning to survive our own inventions. Later that night, while lying in his hotel room, Ethan replayed the day in his mind. Fear, teamwork, innovation, it all blended into one unforgettable memory. Despite the danger, he felt grateful. He had seen the future up close and survived to tell the story. He opened his notebook and began to write. Surviving the Hyperloop taught me that technology isn't just about speed or power, it's about resilience, empathy, and collaboration. Progress doesn't erase fear, it teaches us how to rise above it.